Dear Minister Barrot, ladies and gentlemen, in the name of the CESE, of the Paris Peace Forum, my organization, and all the civil society organizations that have put together this incredible day where Palestinians and Israelis have worked together on proposals to support the conference that you will be leading next week in New York at the UN. So in the name of all these organizations, I want to welcome you here and to thank you for your work. As I was saying this morning when I introduced the session, the theory behind that day is that civil society organizations matter, that popular support is indispensable for diplomatic initiatives, and that we have worked all day, including by video conference with the 8 working groups that have been devising the program and the text for next week, pairing them with 8 working groups here from civil society to provide you with this. So in this coming session, we'll be doing a few things. First, we'll hear from 2 witnesses of the horrors of war, one Israeli and one Palestinian, who will be addressing this group and addressing you, Mr. Minister. Then we will hear from the main civil society organizations that have worked in the past few weeks and more importantly have been working all day to deliver a call to action to you and to President Macron. And then we'll hear your thoughts and your speech, Mr. Minister. So without further ado, I would like to welcome first on stage Mr. Daniel Lifshitz, who will be coming here, and I will let him introduce himself. I think his story speaks for himself.
Hello, and thank you for coming, Minister. With your permission, I will address my speech to President Macron. My name is Daniel Lifshitz. I'm the grandson of Oded and Yocheved Lifshitz, who've been kidnapped from Kibbutz Nir Oz on October 7. Dear President Macron, thank you for your understanding, your compassion, and your resolve in standing alongside the hostages and their families during these unimaginable months. From the very outset, you chose not to remain silent, honoring the French victims of the attack of October 7th and demonstrating moral leadership when many faltered. As time runs out, I believe you can do even more, for we are nearly out of time. I speak to you today not just as an Israeli, but a grandson. My grandfather, Oded Lifshitz, was from Kibbutz Nir Oz, a small community near the Gaza border, a community forged by peace and reconciliation. A place where everyone is family, where relationships are deep and sincere. And yet, on that fateful Saturday, a third of our community was either massacred or taken hostage. Nir Oz fell victim to unimaginable violence and tragedy. My grandfather was a man of peace, a journalist, a justice seeker, a grower of cacti. His lifelong mission was reconciliation and understanding, even helping Gazans reach Israeli hospitals for chemotherapy. His passionate advocacy for the rights of Bedouins in Rafah stands as a testament to his compassion and fairness. In 1984, he crossed borders to foster dialogue and peace. He was kidnapped on October 7 and held under inhuman conditions in Khan Yunis, injured, without medication, without care, until he was tragically killed. That is the voice I bring with me today. And my grandmother, Yocheved Lifshitz, 85 years age, was abducted alongside him. Tossed into danger, then forced across borders. She was eventually released after 17 days, weak and weighing 10 kilograms less, a dramatic manifestation of the suffering. And yet, I come forward to say, I say also to Rita here, our goals are not so different. You have paid in blood, I have paid in blood. The people in Gaza do not wish to remain under a terror regime. The people in Gaza wish for peace, for their children's future, for a way forward toward reconciliation. And I believe many of you wish for the hostage release and for an eventual peace. The path forward involves creating a real alternative to Hamas, not another armed group or a rebranded terror organization, but a leadership in Gaza that strives for peace, education, and understanding, the kind that paves the way toward a future where both our people can coexist in dignity and safety. If you doubt this, remember history. Whenever Israel secured peace and stability, we chose peace. We gave back land, the Sinai, the withdrawal from Gaza. We made dramatic concessions in a quest for peace. This is the Israeli DNA, the expression for a deep moral understanding. Peace cannot grow without providing security for Israel against terror attack or massacres. The more security is provided, the more long-awaited peace will come. Release the hostages immediately, unconditionally, and let the path toward peace be opened. The world must speak with a strong and unified voice. Release the hostages, ease suffering, disarm Hamas, and empower peace for your people and for mine. Bring them home now. Thank you, everyone.
I would now like to call on stage Rita Baroud, who will also introduce herself. Welcome, Rita.
Hello, my name is Rita Baroud, and I'm a Palestinian journalist from Gaza Strip. 2 years ago, I was just a university student studying languages. I was hanging out with my friends, living life with my family. One day, I woke up to the sound of bombs, to the destruction of my home, to the deaths of my friends. I was no longer a student, I became a journalist, not because I choose to, but because I had to. Because Gaza was sealed off from the world. When no one is allowed in, when no one is allowed in, we ourselves must become the eyes, the ears, the voice of our people. Today, I don't speak just for myself. I speak for 2 million people trapped under attack, under bombs, under starvation. I speak for everyone who has lost homes, schools, loved ones, and even their sense of time. I speak for all the young people whose future has been killed. I left Gaza 1 month ago, but Gaza has never left me. Every minute I spend here in safety feels stolen from someone else, someone hungry, displaced, captured. So I want to make this moment count. In Gaza right now, entire families are killed in their sleep. Children are bombed in their mother's arms. Hospitals are attacked. Aid is blocked. Water and electricity are blocked out and cut off. People are left to die in silence. There isn't time to grieve. There is barely time to survive. The people of Gaza are not thinking about political answers. We are only human. They are simply trying to survive for the next hour, just for the next hour, not even for the next day, just for the next hour. People are being killed as they run toward bags of flour. So I'm asking, how can the world see all of this and remain still? I'm here because we need action, urgent, real. An end of the bloodshed, protections for people, unconditional humanitarian access, opening the border. Thank you. I'm here to asking a future for our young people. Humanity is not a slogan, it's a need. Aid is not a reward, it's a right. We don't want a barely to survive, we want to live with humanity, with hope. For young people like me, we want future. My generation are not only being killed by bombs, we are also being erased from the decisions, from the agreements, from the rooms where futures are being shaped. My best friend is in Gaza, who is a doctor in a training, a clever, genius young woman. She's working in hospital with no equipment, no medicine, no sleep. And I'm asking, why does she not get a say in her future? We will be the ones affected by whatever future is created right now. My demand is simple. Invite young people in. We are a generation robbed of education, of safety, of dreams. But we keep going because this is us, the young generation. We write, we heal, we witness, we fight for a simple life. Let me say this clearly. We know what is at stake. We know how we want to live. Young people are central to shaping the region's peaceful future. You can't define humanity and justice without us, because we are the young people. We are asking for our future. As you, the leaders of the world, meet here, young people must be at the table for peace talks, negotiation, and do what the young people deserve. Like, everyone here must to act. Don't let Gaza bleed in silence. Don't let a child die of hunger while discussed. Don't kill our hope the way our bodies are being killed. Don't decide our future, make it with us. So I'm Rita Baroud, and I'm only 22, and when the 7th of October began, I was only 20. I'm Rita, but there are 2 million names in Gaza, 2 million people who want to live, so this war must end now.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Rita. I would now like to call on stage, Mr. Minister, the main civil society organizations that have been working for today's conference. And I will call them in the following order. Nidal Fokkara from the Palestinian Peace Coalition and Geneva Initiative. Gershon Baskin from the Alliance for Two States. Anna Assouline from Les Guerrières de la Paix. Iba Casas from Principles for Peace. Yasmine Guérin from Forum 1325. Samer from the Alliance for Two States. And lastly, Nivin Sanduka from OLMEP. And Mr. Minister, now is the time for you to come also on stage, as we will have Nivin. I asked Nivin to deliver the call to action and read it aloud. That's the work that the civil society organizations have done during the day. That, plus the work they did in the 8 working groups feeding into the diplomatic process. So Nivin, the floor is yours in the name of all the civil society organizations.
This is what we have been working on for the past quite some time, actually. It's the Paris call for the two-state solution. It's our call for action as the steering committee, and it's also all the information that all of you here have been feeding into as well. Your Excellency, Mr. Emmanuel Macron, President of the French Republic, Your Royal Highness Mohammed bin Salman, Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, co-chairs of the Global Alliance for the Implementation of the Two-State Solution, global leaders. Honorable leaders, we speak to you today as Israelis and Palestinians. The living consequences of a history you now have the power to change. We are unlikely coalition, civil society activists, business leaders, elected and government officials, security leaders, and faith leaders, united by a belief that has become an act of defiance, our shared humanity. More than a year after the October 7th attack and the Gaza war and the continuous occupation, the cries of hungry and orphaned children, the empty chairs at family tables, the echoes of shattered lives across our lands, these are beyond a political problem to be managed. They are a moral wound on the conscience of the world. At this moment, we call on you to support the emancipation of our peoples from the reality of perpetual occupation, loss, insecurity, and intergenerational trauma. It is key to forging a path out of decades. Your leadership, that of France, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and the international community, is key to forging a path out of decades of entrenched pain. Your role is crucial to realizing the desire of both peoples for security, dignity, and self-determination. In pursuit of a future for our children, we call on you to champion these actions not as items on an agenda, but as moral imperatives. First, end the war. End the war, which means reviving the ceasefire and ensuring a permanent end to the violence, including the release of all hostages and unimpeded humanitarian access. We welcome regional and international leadership in the security, reconstruction, and sustainable governance of Gaza. Any post-war arrangement must restore the role of the Palestinian Authority and prevent the re-emergence of armed groups or militias operating outside state authority, preventing a return to the pre-October 7th situation. Second, realize a comprehensive political and security framework for the Middle East region, which fulfills the promise of the Arab Peace Initiative by integrating the resolution of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, the achievement of a Palestinian statehood, the end of illegal occupation, and the recognition and integration of Israel into a new regional political and security framework underwritten by the United States, Europe, and key Arab states, which rejects and prevents all forms of terrorism and political violence. Third, support the two-state solution at home. Support the two-state solution at home. Be bold in affirming that both Israelis and Palestinians have an inalienable right to a future defined by mutual recognition, self-determination, and statehood for both people. This starts with the recognition of a Palestinian statehood. And denouncing all forms of terrorism, and must also promote accountability by countering destructive policies, illegal settlements, expansion, and de facto annexation. There must be clear consequences for those who actively seek to undermine a non-violent resolution. We call for advancing a regional political framework and supporting Palestinian governance reform, institution building, and inclusive democratic leadership free from extremism, while providing security guarantees to Israel. A renewed multilateral diplomatic initiative that is both broad, involving Europe, the Arab states, and G7 partners, and deep, inclusive of civil society voices from all levels, reflecting grassroots realities in line with the 2024 G7 policy commitments, is critical to a sustainable resolution. 4, establish an international fund for peace and protect civil society. Create a large-scale international backed fund for Israeli-Palestinian peace, dedicated to empowering and scaling the work of civil society, and helping to shape constituencies in both societies ready to embrace conflict resolution. Do not allow politicization, taxation, or withholding of funding for peace-building organizations. We call on you to lead an international effort to provide explicit legal and political protection for peace activists who are harassed, delegitimized, and put their safety on the line. They are the vanguards of a peaceful future. 5th, invest in a new narrative and in rising generations, which means promoting a new political momentum in both societies. A durable peace cannot be only about treaties. It must be rooted in healing. We call on you to support the profound work of reconciliation, ensuring the inclusion of youth, women, and civil society at the heart of all efforts. We must bridge the chasms of fear with education, and relentlessly combat the hate that seeks to dehumanize the other in our midst, recognizing that rising generations are the cornerstone of a future where both peoples enjoy security, dignity, mutual recognition, and self-determination in a secure neighborhood. It is at this urgent moment of profound loss that your leadership is most critical to build out of shadow of war the architecture of a new regional peace. Our histories are filled with pain, but our future is still unwritten. And you now hold the pen. We stand ready, not as subjects of your policies, but as partners in this essential mission. The world watches, and history will judge. Thank you.
Mr. Minister, could you come? We'll do a group picture with all the civil society organizations around you. If the photographers could come. Thank you. I will now invite our friends to take their seats. We will hear from Minister Jean-Noël Barrot, as Minister for Europe and Foreign Affairs.
Monsieur le Président du Conseil économique,
President of the Economic, Social and Environmental Council, Prime Minister, Ministers, MPs, elected representatives,
corps diplomatique du Forum de Paris sur la paix,
members of the diplomatic corps of the Paris Peace Forum, activists, representatives of civil society, ladies and gentlemen, dear Daniel, dear Rita, please excuse the President. Given recent developments in the Middle East, he had to cancel today, but he has asked me, he has tasked me with conveying this message and conveying also an invitation. All of you are invited to the Élysée Palace at the end of the day to attend a press conference, and buses will be taking you there. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, it is with solemnity, gratitude, and hope that I stand before you today. Solemnity because even as we speak, too many civilians are still paying the price of a war that has lasted far too long, be it those who suffer and die each day in Gaza, aid workers, hostages that have been held for more than 600 days, or the families of all of these victims, whoever they are. We owe them our compassion and to work relentlessly towards a ceasefire. Gratitude as the Paris Peace Forum, by relying on civil society organizations, was able to organize this forum in record time, and all of you were able to join in spite of so many challenges. I know controversies, attacks, and frustrations. There were some hurdles that we could not overcome, but your strong will and your determination paid off. Here you are within this Economic, Social and Environmental Council, which has graciously hosted us, and for that too I am grateful. You are here because your courage needs no further proof, that of your struggles for peace in a region that has been scarred by conflict, and hope as your conversations today and the call for peace, that is the outcome of those conversations, shall feed into the conference for this two-state solution that shall open in New York in just a few days, and enhance it with the voices of civil society, because to be viable, that society needs to be carried forward by people and by the youth, as Rita said. And in just a few days in New York, I'm certain that states too shall bear a message of peace, courage, and hope. We are sparing no effort towards it. And yet, the threats weighing on the hopes of a lasting peace are heavier than ever. The two-state solution, our commitment to which is constant, is a condition for peace and security in the region, as well as being a requirement under international law. And today, it is facing existential threats. which an increase in unilateral measures on the ground, the acceleration of settlements and possible annexations, with hatred taking root, and the peace process collapsing. And that places us at a turning point. We have two options. We can decide to remain trapped in an endless cycle of war, destruction, and human suffering. But we can also decide to put an end to that by refusing the logic of revenge and recognizing the dignity and the legitimate aspiration of each side, the aspiration of the Israeli people to security and that of the Palestinian people to a sovereign, recognized state. Your presence here attests to your firm belief that suffering is not inevitable. War between the Israelis and the Palestinians is not a foregone conclusion, and France shares that belief. This infernal cycle needs to come to an end. And that shall require courage and mobilization from each and every one of us. It requires courage and mobilization from the international community, which needs to change its approach and impose a path towards peace to these parties. France, like the huge majority of UN members and the main international organizations and jurisdictions, has called for an immediate ceasefire, the immediate and unconditional release of all hostages, and the large-scale unobstructed flow of humanitarian aid to Gaza. We need to get results. France, again, like the huge majority of its partners, believes that it is time to provide a political solution to the Palestinians, and that is what the New York conference will do. And that political solution entails a viable Palestinian state with renewed governance, robust guarantees, security guarantees for the Israelis and the Palestinians, the disarmament of Hamas, and regional integration for Israel. And again, we need to obtain results, but it is the only viable path. And walking the path of peace also requires courage from political leaders on either side. They need to dare to take that path in spite of uncertainty. And I would like to acknowledge the significant commitments that Mahmoud Abbas made in the letter that he wrote to France and Saudi Arabia as part of the conference. And you too shall be the witnesses and the guardians of that commitment. It shall require courage from the societies that are caught in this spiral. There's hundreds of you here from different backgrounds, but you all come together seeking peace and mutual recognition, and that gives us strength, the strength to move forward. Dear friends, today you have contributed in a significant way to the international conference that France shall be co-chairing with Saudi Arabia next week in New York. That conference is a unique opportunity in order to peacefully resolve the Israel-Palestine conflict. And we need to seize that opportunity. And I would like to thank you with all my heart for having agreed to be feed into the working groups in New York through your work today. Your call to action was heard. And there are two strong, unanimous calls to action that you have made to the international community. The first is to respond to the right to self-determination of the Palestinian people by recognizing the state of Palestine. And I would like to state here once again, whatever recent developments in the region, France is determined to do that. Your second request is to safeguard Israel's security and to work towards its regional integration. And that, too, is a part of our action, and I commit here before you today to continue moving in that direction. I shall also convey this call to the international community gathered in New York for the conference. You can count on France to continue to be a tireless messenger of peace, dialogue, and coexistence. The voice of Rita, Daniel, and the youth that needs to be heard. The voice of the architects of peace. And so for your presence here today and for your commitment, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Minister. So now I have a surprise announcement to make, and I'm picking up my badge because this badge, whether yours is yellow, blue, or green, is actually an invitation. It's what we call un carton d'invitation. President Macron is inviting all the participants in this conference to join him at the Élysée. He will hold a press conference at 6. He will invite the journalists who are present in this room to attend the press conference, and he will invite the rest of us who are not journalists to wait for him in the gardens in order to be able to meet with you after his press conference. In order to do that, there will be buses that will be organized just outside the CESE. Please pay attention. Buses will be waiting outside. They will not go before 5:45 or 6 p.m. It will take a bit of time because there will be only 2 buses. And the reason there are only 2 buses is that your identity will be checked upon entering the bus. In other words, have this with you, have your ID, board the bus, don't be too impatient, it will take some time, but the bus will go directly into the Élysée and you will not be rechecked upon entrance. So be patient, now drink a cup of water, stay cool, and we will meet at 6 outside the CESE. Thank you.